What is happening? Welcome back to the Past Alive. In this video, we're heading down to Cumberland, Maryland to check out a flea market and also some antique stores I have not been to in quite a while. Very overcast day, but I'm not going to let that stop me from finding cards and collectibles at the Queen City Flea Market. As soon as I walked in, I was greeted by a gorilla statue doing his best Michael Jackson impression, as well as a companion statue on his best behavior. So I made my way through there and immediately found a showcase full of cards. I filmed this one last year when I was here. This case has a bunch of vintage singles, even some modern stuff, some sets, some wax sprinkled around in there. Nothing I really needed for my PC, so I made my way to the basement and came across some boxes on a lower shelf marked 15 bucks for a bunch of junk wax thrown around in there, and the bottom one was 20, and you can see all the colors of the junk wax rainbow shining. Got some 92 scores, some Donruss puzzle pieces, and the best part of the box, the dorky antics of Ron Robinson never elude me, even in another state. So I'm not going to buy those. I put them back, and I made my way to the top floor where we have an entire card shop tucked away. I made a video about this place a while ago and focused heavily on this vendor named Randy. Very nice guy. He was actually there. I talked to him for about an hour, but he has a little bit of everything, wax, singles, even oddball stuff. But here's Randy's information if you want to give him a call, see if he has anything that you're looking for. And we have some stamps in here from 1961. And normally I'm not really, stuff like this doesn't really appeal to me so much, like oddball stuff. But I thought these were really cool, and there was a Juan Marichal in there that I felt like I had to buy. 1961 Juan Marichal's rookie was from Topps that year, so I feel like I had to get this one too, and it was only 8 bucks. And then we have these. Do you remember these also? Because I had never seen them before, but we have bottle cap cover, or bottle caps, I guess, with players on them. Very cool thing from the 60s as well, along with some 1969 Citgo coins. And look how cheap these are, $2-3 bucks a piece, nearly the whole set. There's 19 of them there, missing Pete Rose. So I walked around there, and then I left and went to Beaver Valley Antique Mall. This place is huge. As soon as I walked in, I found a showcase full of old watches, pop culture watches. Inspector Gadget right there. I used to love that show. The Kool-Aid Man, of course, is going to be in there, and maybe some other watches that you might have had in your youth. Jurassic Park, you have Nightmare Before Christmas, and all kinds of other stuff. I thought it was cool to check those out. And I walked away around and made my way back to the guy that always has a ton of freaking wax, and he was stuffed to the gills with older wax. So you see what I mean? An overwhelming amount of wax. And how about this? I've never seen it before. I almost bought it to rip, but the Royal Family cards. I think those are from like '93. How crazy is that box? And check these two junk wax cards out. I think those were like, what, $5 a piece? Maybe one was 6. Thought that was definitely an interesting touch. You got to focus on those, as well as this sick Cal Ripken canvas. I almost bought that. It's so cool. And how about these? Some of you guys had this stuff whenever you were a kid. The parking garage from Fisher-Price definitely had that, as well as the farm and the barn. I think that was $100. Still have that, I think, in my parents' attic, but used to play with those a lot in my younger years. And look at that, the Fisher-Price cash register. So cool to see that. I was about to leave and I came across a random tote. It caught my eye. I had to investigate. I saw 1980 Lube Rock and Yaz on top, and I'm like, these only $1 for these? Pretty sweet. Must check out what's in here, because that was a good sign, even though they had rubber bands around them. But of course, 1990 tops, 89 tops, a bunch of junk wax, and they were all beat up, so really not even worth $1 to even try your luck with those. So I looked at a few of the stacks and made my way out of there. Went to the last place, Memory Lane Collectibles. Used to have a lot more cards here than they do now. But look, check out what I found. Randomly came across this Skateboard Renegade book, which I thought was pretty freaking ridiculous. I had to take a look at this and see what that was all about, but I think I was more distracted by what was next to it. How weird is that book title? I have no words. Sunday I went out to the Altoona flea market and found some stuff there, so let's recap it all and see what I brought back with me. So in all, this weekend was pretty awesome. Brought home some great stuff. I have a small collection full of wax packs I'm going to showcase a little later in this video in a few minutes here. It's pretty freaking awesome. But first, let's check out my finds from Maryland. This being one of the first things I picked up at Queen City. This character may look familiar to you from the original Ghostbusters movie. This is what I believe is a release from 2020. It's hard to tell because this is one of the Terror Dogs, and they've made different versions or variations of this, or of these figures. And this one, I believe to be the Plasma series made by Hasbro in the year 2020. It came in like a set with Louis Tully. It was called Tully's Terrible Night. It's actually pretty valuable in the box. They sell for upwards of $200. But the Terror Dog by himself sells for about $30. Well, I picked this up for $2 at Queen City. I actually didn't have a sticker price on it at all. I took it down to the front counter, and lady's like, $2. I was like, sold. I will take it and put it on display. Did not have one of the Terror Dogs. So, pretty awesome piece for the Ghostbusters collection. Next thing I found randomly on a shelf, something I couldn't pass up from my childhood. If my mom doesn't watch my videos, but if she did, she may remember this, not VHS tape, but this book, because she used to read it to me all the time. And this VHS tape's from 1990. It's Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. And basically the moral of the story was, your day could suck really bad, and at the end of the day, it's just a day. You know, it doesn't determine the rest of your life. The next morning you wake up, it's a brand new day. So that's kind of what the whole moral of the story is, because Alexander just gets kicked while he's down all day long, gets gum stuck in his hair, his family's mean to him. It's just one thing after another. It's actually a great book. I did not know they made a VHS tape, so I have to watch this. I had to buy it as $1. But it was released in 1990, and it's 30 minutes long. So you got to check this out for old time's sake. I think he stubs his toe. Just the worst freaking day ever. Poor Alexander. But I paid $1 for this, and I'm going to check it out here pretty soon. So I had to grab that for old time's sake. And I bought some singles while I was at Queen City. And I'm pretty excited about them too, because you may have seen this in the video. I'd never seen these stamps before from 1961, but Juan Marichal rookie, 1961 tops, obviously, and I had to grab this. I'll put it in my rookie box next to the Marichal, and I figure for $8 in this condition, very, very nice. I wasn't going to pass on that. So I'd like to know if you guys remember those stamps, or if you've ever seen them. Let me know down in the comments. Another thing that I had to get, I don't think I had one of the most iconic cards of all time. It's the MJ rookie card from 1986 Flea. It's a reprint, obviously, but these actually do sell for a decent amount of money. People get them graded and stuff like that, and be surprised at what they go for. But it is a reprint. I'll probably never own the actual Michael Jordan rookie, but I figured I'd grab that as a placeholder, if anything. Put it in a screwed-on case and try to fool everyone, put it on the mantle. The last thing I picked up, we got some singles. These are actually from Altoona. I have not picked up any Paul Skeens. I haven't pulled any of his cards, had none of his cards, period, but we got some first Bowmans here. I saw them for $8 a piece. I'm like, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon and grab me some Skeens first Bowmans before they skyrocket, if that's the case. So grabbed 2 of those for $8 a piece. I thought that was a decent price. And 7 for his Bowman Chrome Insert, Transformative Talent. So that was a cool one. And Jerry Jones, first Bowman from 2020. Wasn't going to pass on that for $3. So the hometown Buccos. Not too often I pick up Buccos cards, but the tide is turning apparently. The next thing I came across randomly at the outdoor flea market for $5. I always find cards at this place, always random stuff. And something I don't really know a whole lot about, but I've had good luck with Magic cards in the past. So, I don't know, it was a 300 count box full of Magic cards. I think they're mostly from the 90s. And there was a time where we went through some Magic cards I had randomly, and there was like a $450 card in there. So I figured I'd pick this up for $5 just to see what I could find. So grabbed those, brought those back with me, and then I couldn't pass on these either. How could you ever? One of the most notorious bricked products, 93 upper deck, but my childhood resonates towards these a lot because I used to buy a lot of 93 upper deck. I was putting this set together as a 9-year-old kid. I was very close to completing it. It had all the stars that I was after: Nigel Wilson, David Need, Tim Salmon was in there, and those are guys I was real pumped on. And I think this, I don't know what kind of tag this is. I feel like that's like service merchandise possibly, but this is a jumbo box, $5 randomly at this flea market. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a shot for $5. I'll grab that, and I grabbed also a hobby box for $5. At one point, these were $3 for a box of these, which is nuts. And $8, even bricked up or not. One of these days, I'm going to solve that paradox and figure out how to unbrick cards once and for all. But 93 per deck for $5 a box, especially for jumbo, never going to pass on it. The next thing I could not come home without, an original Nintendo Power Pad from 1988. I definitely remember my brother and I wanting this and never getting it as kids. But even better, I have it now as nearly a 40-year-old adult. And for a mere $10, you can't pass on something like this piece of Nintendo and gaming history that purpose unknown as of now. More of an impulse buy for me, but I'm sure we'll figure a use out for this in the future and possibly even plug it in, test it out, and make a video on it. And these comp out around $30 in this condition, so could not walk away without it. And probably the best thing I picked up this weekend, the thing I'm most excited about, a bunch of old wax packs, rack packs, and all kinds of goodies in between. Even some wax boxes here. I drove to Pittsburgh and grabbed this off of a guy for $55. I gave him $70 because that's how much I had in my wallet, but just saw the listing on Facebook Marketplace, saw the 87 Flea. I'm like, that alone is worth $55. I'm going to go out there and grab that. You got a full box 89 Donruss, 88 Donruss. You got a partial 87 Donruss box here. But oh, so many random packs to savagely rip our way through. And that's not even all of it. We also have some random Pirates programs, etc., and a box full of cards that I have yet to even go through. So we're going to go through this whole collection. All kinds of goodies in here. 2017 Series 2. I have not looked through all these yet. I'm saving this for you guys. Jumbo pack. Got a rack. 2013. How often do you see packs like that? So all kinds of goodies in here. I see 1990 Leaf tucked away in there. Pretty awesome. We're going to go through all these in a separate video on Thursday, but this was definitely the best pickup that I had for the weekend. So stay tuned for that video. We'll go through all the singles, rip through some packs, there's even some Fairfields randomly in here, and see what we can uncover. But that is it for the weekend recap. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop me a comment down below and let me know what your favorite thing I picked up was. It was probably this, but also you'll be entered in a chance to win the PSA 10 Jeff Bagwell. So, and I appreciate you guys commenting. I love to hear from you guys. I will see you back tomorrow night for a live sports card sale. Have a great night, guys. Thank you all for watching.